Now, who will win the food war in South Africa's premium aisles? This as Pick n Pay battles for survival. Checkers waging another campaign challenging Woolworths for the title of South Africa's top-end food retailer. Financial Mail's editor Marc Hasenfuss joins us now for an analysis of the country's top food retailer players. Thank you so much for your time, Marc. Now, for a long time, when the title of a premium food retailer came to mind, Woolworths had no contender. Is that changing?
Yeah, I'd say so. Not much of a shopper myself, but yes, I mean, I'm old enough and long in the tooth enough to remember the old Checkers brand with Clive Wheel and trolley for trolley adverts is very much a value retailer back in the day.
Yeah.
It certainly has changed lately. I mean, I do pop into the Checkers now and again, and, you know, the food aisles are top range. You know, I'm not saying it's up at Woolies standards yet, but it's certainly getting there. You're certainly getting really interesting tidbits that you can pick up, you know, from fancy cheeses to specially packaged goods under their feast and forage brands. So yes, they're making inroads there most definitely. It's a very, very concerted effort. I think you've probably seen the adverts with the famous chef.
Yeah.
They're going for it, yeah.
Marc, it's been quite an evolution because I remember when I first moved to Joburg, my first encounter of the premium Checkers was in Waterfall, and I was quite surprised because I saw these prices and I was like, man, these are quite high prices for a Checkers. But then when I looked around and I actually looked at the feel of the store and also the quality, I then realized, and that's actually when it started to kind of come into my mind, that actually Checkers could be a big contender for Woolworths. But it's actually quite interesting because what the retailers Woolworths and ShopRite are saying doesn't really see, in terms of their market share in that premium market, doesn't seem to quite align with what the market watchers are saying there. What's happening?
Yeah, look, I think both will claim leadership positions. You know, it's a niche, let's be frank. So I don't think the stats are readily available and very accurate and authoritative to say so-and-so is the leader. So they'll both claim leadership. You know, for me, I've never been a big investor in retail stocks, but because you know, the margin is something quite scary to manage that. I think that's the main thing. And I think Woolies have made that very clear. You know, they're not going to defend their position at the cost of margin. And I think we know the broader ShopRite group, geez, they run a lean machine.
Yeah.
So their margin's always good. So it's a very interesting battle. I think to see who comes out top, I think it'll take a few years for this to settle. I think it could get quite attritional, but I don't think, to be honest, shareholders need to worry about either company doing something really stupid and cutting their margin to ribbons. So
Yeah.
that's one heartening aspect of it.
Are there certain grocery categories that you know, people are looking out for in terms of giving us an indication of the competitive metrics here?
Geez, I think you can look across anything. I mean, you know, I think you take just dairy products,
Yes.
the adaptions there, the fancy cheeses I see,
Yeah.
the meats. You know, honestly, some of the stuff that Checkers has come out with in terms of, let's call it fancy food, packaged stuff like the feast and forage range, I'm quite amazed by. It's really innovative. You know, Woolies has always been there, let's be honest. I mean, I can't stand going down a Woolies aisle. Things just pull me all the way. I want to buy things. They look so fantastic. So, that, you know, I think in terms of innovation and getting products out there that are interesting for the people with a bit of discretionary spending, I know we all haven't got that, but yeah, it's going to be a good battle, and I think he who innovates best will probably win it.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, in terms of market share, Marc, I think it's quite easy for us well, for the lower to middle income consumer to kind of switch between retailers, because really what leads us in a lot of our decisions is price. But how easy or how difficult is it for the more affluent consumer to actually switch?
You're asking the wrong person. But look, I think, yeah, sure, if you are used to a certain quality, you've always got it from, say, Woolies. You know, I think to break away there and get it somewhere else, probably not going to happen easily. I think it's going to be quite sticky. So from that aspect, yes. But then reputations are built. It could be through premium Woolworths, for instance, or something like that, where someone said, you've got to go to Checkers to get this. This is the most fantastic thing. Go. And it's okay, well, I'll make an extra shop, then I'll go there. And, you've got to walk past all the other aisles, and it's going to eventually pull people in. So it's a most interesting battle. And as I say, the innovation is what counts.
And it's quite interesting, Mark, that we're having this conversation in these tough economic times. We're having a conversation on the premium end of the market. Is this really also just, pinning down the point that the more affluent consumer is actually more resilient because you have these companies trying to fight for that consumer at this point?
Yeah, sure. Let's go back to margin. This is where you build your margin.
Yeah.
People are prepared to pay extra $1 or $2, extra 50 cents for, fresh avos that are ripe and ready. Yeah, you're going to make a killing there. Some people can afford that, and others will buy the packet of avos like me and let them ripen over 3 weeks. But yeah, I mean, those price points break away for people who need it and want it and are used to that. So yes, and as I say, pricing power is huge, so margin enhancement.
I'll tell you, Mark, yesterday I bought a whole packet of avos that are still hard, and I put them in the cupboard, but I also bought 2 that were ripe and ready because I needed them at that point. So I guess you could maybe say I dabble in all these consumer markets. But just lastly, as we're talking about Woolworths and ShopRite, they're not the only food retailers there. There's Pick n Pay and Spar. Do Pick n Pay and Spar feature in that kind of fight for that affluent consumer or not?
I don't want to be disparaging or anything, but I think both have got their own problems to deal with. One far larger than the other one, let's be honest. Spar's convenience, I think they won't completely challenge into that market yet. I know Pick n Pay did try this at one stage. Some of their stores, they went really upmarket. I think that's not quite a priority at the moment, so perhaps not.
Well, thank you so much for your very interesting insights there, Mark. Much appreciated. That was Marc Hasenfuss, editor for Financial Mail.